അറിയില്ല അമ്മ.
Hey there, guys. So, before starting, I actually had a question. Do you want me to revise yesterday's whatever we did yesterday? Like, do you want me to revise it, or should we just just start ahead?
A revision would be great.
All right, let's revise it very quickly, and then we'll just go ahead with today's content. So the session hasn't started, guys. We are just revising it very quickly, very briefly. We are revising it. All right. So yesterday, all right. Zoom in a little bit. I don't know how I could do that. Okay, give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Let me see how I can do that. All right. Mm,
Your mic is off.
yeah, I'm actually talking with my roommate on how to zoom in into that. Um, okay. Is it zoomed in now?
You haven't shared the screen.
All right. Oh my. Now is it good? How is it? All right.
It's
Then
better.
all right. So we have a lot of content pending to be done. I'll just but still I'll just very quickly we'll be brief. So yesterday we talked about the skills that are needed to be a product manager. Then we covered up some PM terminologies and tools and also some metrics. We had to do cracking PM internships yesterday, but we could not due to the time limit, and we also could not do the exercises, right? So, what today I'm thinking, I'll just revise this, and then we'll move on to frameworks and everything. And then at the end, if we get time or tomorrow, we'll do cracking the PM internships as well as all the exercise. So whatever you've learned in these 3 days, I have formulated some exercises so that we can do them tomorrow. So the skills that are needed for the PM role are basically listed in front of you. Those are analytics. Analytics is basically whenever we launch a product or a feature, we need to know before that, before launching and after launching, we need to before launching we need to have a customer research. what kind of customer we are targeting, what kind of market we are targeting, and also how much this feature has been worked in the past and how our competitors are using it. So over there we use analytics, right? And after launching a product or a feature, we need to see after the implementation. For example, if I've added a slow scrolling feature in an app, we need to see how well is it performing after being added, right? So that is what where analytics is being used in product management or APM roles. Then the second and kind of the most important skill that comes is critical thinking and problem solving. So why is it needed? Because we are the main job, the core job of a product manager is to solve the problems that the user as well as the management. Sometimes what are the problems they are facing, a product manager has to solve them, right? So for solving any problem, we of course need the problem solving skill. So this is one of the very essential skill that all product managers must have. While talking about problem solving, I'm not talking about the technical problem solving, that is not the algorithm, the competitive programming, but I'm talking in the general sense. Products are complex, and a product manager has to do a lot of things. He has to do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of thinking, critically thinking, to solve those problems. So we'll see what those problems are. I've included them to like on a beginner level in the exercises. We'll see them. Then comes customer oriented mindset. So customer oriented mindset is basically looking at the product or the feature from the eyes of the customer, from the perspective of the user. So why this helps is because whenever we are giving out something. For example, I'm making this PPT for you guys, so I have to see, is it really useful? And from a student's perspective, is it useful for a student? Is this content useful for a student? So that is why customer oriented mindset is very much needed for a product manager. He has to know if the feature is being adopted by the user, or is it helpful enough, or will the customer generation adopt it, right? So that is what customer oriented mindset means. Then comes tech. All product managers or majority of product managers need to have a little background in tech. By background, I do not mean to say that they don't need to know all the algorithms or they need to know be hardcore coders, but they need to know the generic terms about tech and the tech industry, right? They need to know the products, right? Then comes growth and marketing. So marketing and launching the product, making it reachable to more amount of people is again an essential skill. Then the communication skills, coordinating with people, coordinating with teammates, coordinating with the user or the customer, then coordinating with the stakeholders, communicating with them, manipulating them. All these skills come under communication skills. So those are very, very much needed and very essential for a product manager role. Then comes a design sense. So design sense, as I said yesterday as well, it's not something you have to learn as such. You get it as an experience. Like we say in common sense is there. So in a similar manner, design sense is there. So a product manager should have a little bit of design sense as well. So after that, we talked about tools and terminologies. So backlog, I'll just very, very quickly, I'll just turn it. Backlog is basically all the pending work. In layman terms, I'm talking now. So backlog is all the pending work that the uh, product has, all the features, all the uh, use cases that the product manager feels that they might be implemented or they have to be implemented in future. Roadmap is of two types: the product roadmap and the customer roadmap. So customer roadmap is also known as customer journey map, which specifies what a user has to do from start till the end. So generally, for example, if we say for web apps, the first step is onboarding, or the first stage. The customer is acquired to the app. Similarly, there is a roadmap for the management team. Uh, Usually those are done through wireframing. The product manager makes wireframes and to show what the idea is, what the team has to do exactly, right? Because these are not some things, these are ideas, and these are things that cannot be just written in words, right? So they have to actually made a roadmap or wireframe it, right? Then we know about the product. KPIs were key performance indicator, any metric that can be taken as the key metric, the most important or essential metric for any product is KPI. Agile methodology are basically the management structure of any company, right? So Kanban, Scrum, these all are one type of agile methodologies. In Kanban, we differentiate with the tags of to do, to be done, and completed, right? So those kind of tags. Churn is basically the number or the ratio of users who have stopped using the app or the product. Customer validation means that is the user or the customer, is he validating the product, is he accepting the product. Then customer journey map we already talked about. Design thinking is a structured way of thinking anything, right? Top down strategy is where all the products and the feature ideas or the brainstorming or the vision comes from the top hierarchy. The opposite is bottom up. Persona basically mean how the customer or the user that we are targeting is actually in their real life. So uh, there could be a student persona, there could be a teacher persona, middle aged man. So that retention is how many people use the product once more or again in a duration of time. MAU, DAU, WAU. The full form is monthly active users, daily active users, or weekly active users. This basically means how many users are actively using the product on a daily, monthly, or weekly basis. There's a yearly one also. Then there comes MAU ratio, that is, DAU upon MAU, MAU upon WAU, such kind of ratio. These are very important from stakeholders' perspective. Usually, investors look at these ratios while investing in a product. Stakeholders are the people who have invested monetary funds in a product, and they have a say in the team. MVP is minimum viable product, a product that is it it's in the least possible or usable stage. Wireframing, as I told, is the the whole brain kind of, how a product manager is showing or what the idea is exactly. So we wireframe it in the sense that we show it graphically, visually. So that's wireframing. Then we'll cover A/B test, USP, OKR, sprint, and North Star metric in a while. So this was what we covered yesterday. Now the session is beginning, guys. So everyone who joined a little late, we are starting just right now. We were just doing a quick revision, very quick revision of what we did yesterday, right? So here we are on day 3. We will discuss product metrics, then some product frameworks, and if we get time, which I don't think so, we'll discuss cracking PM internships and how to actually apply for an internship, how to give the interview, what project, stuff like that, right? So what frameworks are? Frameworks are structured manners, or in tech we say algorithms for coding, a structured way, or the pseudocode, basically pseudocode or a structured way to do anything. So each company, each product has a framework that they use. It's either being made, like there are some famous frameworks that many companies or products use, or there are some frameworks that the product managers of a specific company make for themselves, right? So we'll see quite a few of these famous frameworks, and we'll also see how some companies are already using it, right? So this is the interactive part, guys. I want you all to be awake, very very awake, very very active. So let's go ahead. Circles method, it's a design framework in the sense that when a product manager has to design a product, the brainstorming part, you remember the research and the ideation part. This framework is used at that point. So circles is basically an abbreviation of different 7 words. So the first thing is comprehending the situation, which means what the product is doing, why the product is doing that. Uh, I guess there's some can yeah, it's all good now. So why the product is being made, who is the user, who is making the product, how are we making the product. So and how's the current market situation, how the industry is going on, what's the growth factor. So all these kind of situation comes in comprehending, right? Then secondly comes the identifying the customer. So there we use personas, that who is our user target, right? For example, if the company is related to baby food, our user are the pregnant mothers, right? Or the mothers that have given birth to the children recently. So that is what a persona is called, right? So we have to see and identify the customer or the user that we are gonna give our product to, right? If for example, if I'm selling Cerelac, I cannot go to you know any old guy on the streets and I'll be like, would you buy a Cerelac? It won't be useful, right? But if I go to a maternity home or a maternity ward, I'll see a lot of people, I'll see a lot of customers that might buy my product. So that is why identifying the customer is very much needed. So the third part is in circles is basically reporting the customer needs. So what the customer wants is basically this means. So if what problem is basically the customer is facing, right? Then the fourth is cut. So what whenever we think of a product, right? For example, when the founders of Instagram must have thought of launching Instagram, they must have founded so many features must be coming into their minds, right? So then they have to cut down some features. uh, so there's two reasons. First is to make the product easier to launch, and second is the business perspective, so that if we are investing a lot of money into a product and if it fails after some time, so that's not good, right? So we have to be careful, and the product manager has to prioritize the estimate and everything. He has to prioritize, cut through, and find out what the best problems are, right? Then the next part is listing the solutions, all the solutions. Then the next is evaluating the trade-offs. That is, for example, there are 10 solutions. Which is the best? Which is the most scalable solution? Which is the most easy way to implement for the developers? So all these things, especially in startups, what we do, we look at all these things very critically, because in for example, in a small startup, there might be just two developers. There might be just one product manager. There might be no ATM, no APM at all. There might be just one designer. So in that cases, the HR, the human resource, is very much very valuable. So the product manager has to think critically on how to balance these things. And then at the end, the summarize the all summary of the product. How are we using it? Why are we using it? What is the problem? Who is the user? What is the problem that we are solving? What is the solution? And also, what is the goal, right? So this is what circles method is basically. So any doubts? If you have any doubts, just put it in the chat box first and then unmute your mic. Because I don't know, it resonates kind of thing, right? So just let me know if you have any doubt in the chat box. Yesterday someone was asking about design thinking, right? So basically, this is design thinking, a structured way of thinking about designing. All right, comprehend, repeat. So in comprehend, basically we look at the market. Uh, Minaz, how the market is performing, and regard to a product, or what we are thinking with regard to a vision, how the market is actually at that point of time, how the users are behaving. Well, for example, if someone has to launch a blockchain related product, this could be the best time for it. Someone has to launch a VR product, this could be the best time for it. But on the same thing, if we see if someone has to, kind of launch a retail shop or something, this might not be the perfect time for it, right? It might be in the future or in the past, but at the time when COVID is growing, it might not be the correct way, right? So that's what comprehending is: analyzing the situation in terms of business, product, customer needs, and you know acceptability of the product. So design thinking, again, all these design frameworks are more or less same in the sense that first we have to think what problem, that is empathize. So we have to think what problems the user is facing. Then we have to pick up that problem and define it clearly. So, I read in one book, Ozo. There's some product named Ozo. It's a detergent product, right? So it's a liquid detergent product. So they talk to the customer. The product managers talk to the customer about what problems they were facing, right? So the customers, all the customers, or the majority of the survey came to a conclusion that when they used a pouring cap kind of thing, like so you so they used this kind of cap to pour the detergent. So now what the user said was that when we pour from the detergent from the cap, it leaks down and it comes to onto their hands, right? So this was the problem that the users said, or the customer said to the product manager, that this is the problem that we are facing. Now the product manager's role was to actually define that problem, that what was the actual problem. This was on the top tier on a eagle eyes views. The problem was that detergent is dripping when we tilt it. But what was the actual problem that the user was facing? So in the defined states, what they did was they saw that when the customer was pouring, they were looking at how much milliliter or how much liquid they are pouring, and the scale was vertical. So the customer had to actually bend their head and see. So due to that, there might be a droppage or leakage of the detergent. So they made a horizontal scale uh, on the product, on the cups, and that problem was solved. So that is what the difference between taking the problem from the customer and defining it, right? So then ideate, then prototypes. Ideate is basically defining the problem and then ideating the solutions, then prototyping it, that what the solutions, actually deploying it into models for software and both non-tech products, and then testing it. So that's was the very basic design thinking. Yes, there are a lot of details into each of that section, but I think getting it from a eagle eye view could be viable for you guys at the moment of time. Then this is the framework that Facebook uses. The name itself is Facebook's three questions. So any feature that Facebook launches, they keep in mind these three questions. So right now, see, I'll tell you what these questions mean, but after that, I need your help, right? We'll pick out a feature, and I want you guys to solve these all three questions for one of the features that Facebook has already implemented, right? I'll give you the feature, and whoever does it first gets a gift card from me, right? Amazon gift card from myself, right? So Facebook's three questions. So the first question is, what people problem are we trying to solve? So okay, it's in very layman terms, guys. So what problem, like the user is facing on a regular basis, not from the feature or the product that we already have, but also from on a regular basis. How do we know it is a real problem? As we saw in, all right, is my connectivity bad? Am I audible perfectly? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. You are
Clean and
audible.
clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So the second thing is, how do we know this is the real problem? So we see the Oxo detergent ka case. There we saw that the problem that the customers said was a problem, but it was not the real problem. It wasn't the actual problem. So how do we know that it is not a real problem or it is a real problem, right? Then the third thing is, how will we know if we've solved the problem? Okay, we found the problem, we solved it, we deployed it, we tested it, and we launched it into the market. Then how do we know if we've solved the problem? I'm not talking about the analytics. I'm not talking about कि इतने लोग आए, this many XYZ people. Actually, I'm talking about how the product has evolved. So got it right? Got it? So pick up your whatever typing pads or mobiles and to tell me the answer to these three questions for which feature guys, Facebook का कौन सा feature, which feature should we do? Any guesses? Okay, Facebook Marketplace. Everyone knows Facebook Marketplace. uh the thing on the Facebook where we can sell and buy products. Yes, Facebook Marketplace. Do it quickly. Quickly, one line for each question, just one line. Just one line. Okay, the first guy to be nearest, I'll send him a gift card, Amazon gift card. A real gift card. Harshal? Okay, you guys have like 2 minutes. Be very quick. So the task is that for Facebook Marketplace, you have to design the answers for these three questions. Sejal, you got the task now? Okay. What's Marketplace? On Facebook, there's a region where people can buy and sell products. So that's Facebook Marketplace. Oh shit. Anyone? Be quick. 7:35. We'll move. Okay. Tanvi has answered. Okay. Problem faced is to buy or sell easily, and we can find the person's ID online. Right. The problem is real ka because a lot of people get scammed. Yes. And Tanvi, seems you missed the last part. How do we know that the problem is solved? Tanvi, you missed it. The product, Hustle, it's correct, but you missed the other two questions. 20 BOE. Problem can be known from search history if more people. Yes, but this is the answer of just one question. What about the other three? Problem being specific for the purpose of selling. Okay, Pragya. But again, the other two answers are missing. Okay, Vishwajit has sent three of them. Improve the connectivity for local vendors and help them. So improving. Okay, this is interesting because this is kind of a solution, right? But let's see, improving the connectivity for local vendors. But this is not the problem, right, Vishwajit? This is the solution. This is not the problem, right? So the first part is actually incorrect. That second. Okay, second is correct. Third is metrics, but yes, which metrics, right? First, okay, Ravisha has sent business reach, showcasing an expansion. Okay, we see it around us. How do all right? We you see it. Number of satisfied and regulars. Okay, so Ravisha, this is actually correct. So Ravisha gets a gift card, right? Ravisha send in the email ID at the end of the session or onto my Telegram. Okay, Tanvi, yeah, now it's correct, right? Now that's the third. That's the answer to the third. It's correct. So security and identity of people. The real problem is not. So secure. See again, security and identity of people is not a real problem that was taken into consideration while making the product Facebook Marketplace. So that's not a problem that Facebook Marketplace solved, right? So that's there. No, guys, again, it's not the problem that Facebook Marketplace was solved to make. So, no guarantee for quality of the product. This is not the problem that Facebook Marketplace is solving, right? All right, so many questions, so many answers. Some 21 BAI 100. Good one. 10380. Nice, nice. Awesome, awesome. Lovely, guys. So, okay. So, now I'll also tell Ravisha's one was correct. Many others were also correct. So, what people problem are we trying to solve? So, what is the problem that marketplace solves? Actually, they are helping the customers to expand. They they're helping the sellers to expand, getting customers things, whatever items they want to purchase from real entities, right? They can contact the seller directly, which we might not be able to do in Amazon or some other platforms, right? So that is the problem that we are trying to solve. How do we know this is a real problem? Because we've seen it through competitive analysis that other apps are not actually, uh, for example, in Amazon, a buyer might not be able to connect with the seller. There is an option of comments in the product, but you never know. The seller might reply or he might not reply, right? So that is how we know it's a real problem that the other apps they're not providing this solution. How will we know if we've solved this problem? Through the metrics. So MAU, DAU, everything. So all the metrics that we have, right? MAU, DAU, and customer satisfaction ratio, this thing. Okay, good activity, right? Thank you. Okay. Now the next framework is double diamond. So guys, we just have 10 minutes. Moscow double diamond and MVP, ARR, hook model. Oh, lovely. We're gonna be little. We'll extend the session a little ahead of time. Okay. So double diamond framework is again a designing framework. So what does designing frameworks mean are that these frameworks are used at the ideation stage. There's a prioritization stage, there's a ideation stage. So the double diamond is again a design framework for the ideation stage. So the first part is research. Before research, we already know what the problem is. So what the problem the user is facing, right? Then we discover it and we define it. We explore the problem and we define it. After the research stage, a product manager would have in hand the problem definition. All right. After having the problem definition, we would design it. So developing and testing, and then delivering and listening. So developing in the sense that coding or the UI UX and everything, and then we are testing it, right? And delivering means launching it to the customer himself, and or maybe dog fooding. So dog fooding, I told you, right? So maybe dog fooding or launching it to the customer itself, and then we have the solution, right? So listening, after that listening. So we use a lot of tests. A/B test is there. We'll learn about A/B test in a while. So that's how we know if the feature is working or not. So whichever works, it's the solution, right? Now, Moscow framework is a prioritization framework in the sense that when you have a lot of solutions, when you have a lot of features, when you have a lot of problems, this frameworks this framework could be used where. Yeah, I'll Monica, I'll make one PPT, I'll download it and share it on the Telegram group, right? After we complete all the sessions. Okay. So in Moscow model, we see what are the must have things, what are should have things, like things that could be we could have we and the ones that we should have. So this is basically the prioritization. And then there might be some features as well which we just don't need, so they put it into the won't have section, right? All right, yeah, sure, what's up too. So Moscow is done. All right. Then comes the MVP model. So MVP, yes, urgent plus important graph, exactly. So that's what Moscow model is. MVP, we saw minimum viable product. Then just give me a minute, guys. All right, guys. So we are on MVP model. So MVP basically means minimum viable product. So minimum, we keep the word aside. Viable product means a usable product, right? So minimum viable product means the minimum usable product. So a product at its lowest point that could be used efficiently. So for example, we see that the first example on the top here, where my mouse points, there's a cross. It so shows that we make the tire first, then the axle, then the door, and then finally we have a product named as car, right? So this is not a good example of an MVP model because the first stage, that is the tire is not usable. It's not, we cannot use it, so it's not a viable product. But in the second case, we see the skateboard is also usable, the scooter is also usable, the cycle is also usable, the bike is also usable, and at the end, the car is being made, that is also usable, right? So that is exactly what minimum viable product means, that the product is very simple at its starting stage, but it's very viable. It could be used to solve the problem that the user is facing. Then come the double A triple R framework. So this framework is basically, the kind of 0 to 1 framework whenever launching or something like that. So in this, whenever we are launching a product or a feature, it's end to toe product, end to toe uh, framework, or maybe beginning to start, or 0 to 1. You know, that kind of framework we use. For example, uh, we'll see a good example. So acquisition is basically acquiring the user or the customer. So that could be done maybe through marketing, from organic leads, or through marketplace basically, or just launching the product itself. So that is the acquisition stage. That is end to what is basically one cycle. That is one product use cycle, Ravisha. So for example, if we are launching it for 100 people, then getting it done to getting it the product used by 100 people. So that's what one cycle means. So the first stage is acquisition. Acquisition basically means getting the user to come to the app. The second is activation. Activation means making the user use the app. Third step is retention, making the user use the app more than once, right? The fourth step is referral, making the user refer that product to some of his friend through word of mouth, through referral links, anything. So that's what referral means. And the fifth part is generating revenue from that product through all these stages. So there's no doubt, right? It's very layman terms. So now I want you guys to tell me very quickly, just 3 minutes, guys, Hana. Very quickly, just tell me what would be how does Instagram activate its customers? How does Instagram activates its customers? Tell me. Activation means making the customer use the app. So how does Instagram do that efficiently? Tell me.
By pulling notifications.
By sending notifications, yes. What else? By verification. Verification is the acquisition stage, Vidhi. Right? Through ads. Ads are again the acquisition stage where we bring the customer to the product. Ananya, activation means making the user use the app, making the customer use the product, right? So what do you think is the activation for Instagram? One person said it's what did he say was, oh my god, so sorry, I forgot to scroll. I was thinking Instagram ads, no Instagram ads. It's again acquisition, launching new features, no. Adding reels in it, yes. Through showing reels, yes. Add your contacts, exactly. Add your contacts. Sending notifications, yes. Thank you, Lokesh. Notifications, yes. Promotion of ads, no. Explore section, yes. Notifications, yes. Ads, again, no. Username, ID, password, that's acquisition, right? That could be actually activation as well, because again we are using the app, but yeah, not the exact use case that we want, right? People you may know exactly. Then post post your first post, right? Add your first post, that could also be there. So providing it various functions, yes, exactly. Awesome, lovely guys, lovely. You guys are doing lovely. So let's go to the next one. uh Please, someone has their mic on, can you please mute it down? Thank you. All right, the next is hook model. I guess this is the last one for today. Yes, great. So hook model is basically it's one of the best frameworks, on making the users. The framework is basically used for making the app addictive. All right. So if you want to make an app addictive, that is the user is using again and again and again and again. So we use the hook model. There are other models as well, but hook model is specifically for that job. So what's your most addictive app, guys? Mine is Instagram. My roommate once is also Shub's also app is Instagram as well. What's yours? Tell me. Instagram. Okay, Instagram. All right. Reddit. All right. YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. Okay. Okay. WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Instagram. All right. Reddit. I was surprised to see Reddit. I've never used Reddit like as such. More than one, I haven't used it. Okay. So what we do is what the hook model. Hook model was given by Nee Rial in his book Hooked. So Netflix. All right. All right. Facebook be like we exist also. All right. So hook model is very versatile in the sense that it's very deep in itself. You can read the book Hooked by Nee Real to know more about this framework. So in hook model, we basically m- make the use we use triggers to make the user use the app. right? So anything that triggers the stimuli, that something that makes you instantly use the app, right? Then we make the user do some action, then we give them some reward, and then we make the user invest something. So as per the hook model we say, and as per the researches also, when a product manager or a team makes an app or any product, the user does not value it as much as compared to something that they've invested in, right? So we see Instagram a lot over here, so I'll tell you why that happens uh now, right? So this is the thing, like trigger, then action, then giving them some reward and making the user invest in the product, and this goes loop in loop, right? Again and again, and that's how a product gets um very addicting. So sorry guys, I got a little lost because my roommates are actually making Maggie by my side and the smell is all in the way. So all right. So let me tell you how Instagram, we see Instagram is such an addicting app, right? So let's see why is it. So what's the trigger for Instagram? Tell me. All right, we don't have much time. I'll tell you what's the trigger for Instagram. So basically, whenever we feel there's something good, a good food pic, or we go to some places, there's a trigger. Oh, I have to post this on Instagram. I have to show this to my friends. Or there is a meme, right? Or we are celebrating a situation, right? So when that happens, it's a good trigger. Elegant pics, right? It's a trigger that Instagram uses. Social appreciation, right? Then the action is simply getting it posted. So people post stories, people post uh, posts, right? So that is the action. What's the variable reward? The reward in the case of Instagram is basically social appreciation, the amount of likes and comments, the validation that we got. In case of stories, the story replies. So that's kind of the variable reward that Instagram gives us, right? What's the investment? Now, in case of Instagram, the best thing is users develop a feed after posting for a short duration of time. So you feel, oh, my feed is so good. Oh, there I have a lot of pictures on Instagram. So that's the investment that the users give, right? They give their time and their effort in the app to make a good looking feed, or maybe just posting simply. Now they also introduced story highlights to increase this investment thing. So that is why Instagram is actually a good addicting model. So now you guys know that what are the triggers, what is the action that you do, what is the reward, and what is the investment, right? So be careful because you are being used. So you've heard that saying now that if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. So basically you are the product in case of Instagram, right? Why Instagram is more popular, although Insta and Facebook both have the same features. So Facebook does not have the feed feature. They You cannot see all the you know then there are other things as well. Stories were launched very late in case of Facebook, right? Then the Instagram has a lot of more features. Why did Facebook have to buy Instagram? Because of course Facebook was and it is still capturing all the market. So they knew that Facebook, the actual Facebook product, was not gonna work in on a longer duration. So they captured the market, and now they are going towards Meta when they already have a command over all the apps. So you see this? Don't you guys see this? For example, if Facebook is launching a new product and they want all the users to go to that product, they can simply burn the older apps because they already own them. So they have a whole lot of user base, right? Why is the Facebook not? Because it's not for the generation, right? R, right? Yes. Yeah, Insta UI UX again. Okay. let's quickly cover the tools and terminologies because tomorrow we'll totally do questions for 30-40 minutes and then we'll just go, right? So A/B testing. A/B testing is basically when we have to test anything. For example, there are two features. Now the product manager is confused on which feature to use. He could just do A/B test. That is, he could divide the audience into two parts, A group, B group, and they can just do a test on them. And whatever the analytics shows that the A feature was more better, they just use. The second is USP. Right. We'll come to the I'll come to the chat section बाद में, है ना? There are so many exciting questions over there. Then comes USP. That's unique selling price. So for any product, it should have a unique selling price. For example, I'm not gonna say this. It's in the exercise tomorrow. I'll have to pick something for Zoom. For Zoom classes, what was the USP? It was one of the first product that enabled online classes. It was free of cost. There was recording feature and everything. So the unique selling point for Zoom was the online class and in during the time of pandemic, right? Then OKRs basically mean objectives and key results. So whenever we define a problem or a goal, basically not a problem, rather the goal or an objective, we have to define its key results. For example, if I'm defining an goal, that I have to grow my WhatsApp group, right? So what would be the key result? The key result would be that the WhatsApp group reaches its limit, right? So that's what an OKR means. So then comes sprint. So sprint is basically how we work in a product manage, like in companies, not only in product management, but many companies use a sprint methodology to work. So they pick up a product or a feature, they'll work for a sprint, uh, a continued period of time. It might be hours, it might be days, it might be months, depending on the scale of the product. So maybe for small features, they might work for 15 days and then they'll take rest. So that is what a sprint means, doing it in one go. Now, North Star is a metric. It's a very important metric. Please pay attention. So North Star metric, it's asked everywhere. All right. So please pay attention. Again, pay attention, guys. So North Star metric is basically any metric for a product that could be used for a longer duration of time. So North Star, it's in the same position for the whole year, right? So similarly for a product, whichever metric can be used for a whole lot duration of time is North Star metric, right? So for again, I'm not gonna use YouTube. Um, Give me some app, guys. Tell me some app. Tell me some app. Okay, Facebook. Facebook. What could be the North Star metric for Facebook? For Facebook, it could be how many users are using the app on a daily basis. That could be a North Star metric for Facebook. Twitter, how many people are commenting, right? One metric that is the most useful metric in the long term, right? So that's North Star metric. Okay. All right, guys, that's it for today. Again, we've left internships, interview. So this we'll do tomorrow. This only these three slides are there, and I'd have to share the projects that I made. Um, Actually, they were on NDA, so I cannot show them. I cannot share them, but I can show them to you. So, yep. Any doubts, guys? Any doubts? Okay.
Yeah, one doubt.
Yeah, tell me.
Actually, can you tell a bit about projects, projects required for this role?
Yeah, sure. So, okay, let's discuss it for the first. Let's just discuss the projects. So, in product management, the type of projects that we need are basically idea based. Ishita, tomorrow is the last day. Okay. So, okay. So, coming to projects, back to projects. these are not the technical projects that we talk about. Rather, these are the projects that are focusing on solving a problem. So if there is any problem and there's already a product and we have to add a feature, or we are solving a problem, so we make these kind of projects. So these not need not to be technical. It could be a simple PPT as well, or maybe you could for app for solutions that have app involved. You can just solve it by making no code tool. You could make an app using a no code tool. You can make a website using a no code tool like Wix or something like that. So right, so so in projects, basically in product management, we solve the projects from the problem that the user is facing, how this solution is, and also at the third point, how viable or how scalable it is from a business perspective. So these are the three main things: what the problems we are solving, how are we solving it, and what's the business revenue generation point of that project. So I'll show you one project that I made recently, right? Yeah, product school is there. You can get a lot of projects over there, I guess. Yeah. Resume and interview will cover tomorrow, because the resume is nothing but interview. We have type of questions and stuff, so it will take a little bit of time. All right. So please let me know your doubts, and I'll just get back to them. I'll till the moment I'll share my PPT as well. Okay, so this is a very good question. How are KPIs and North Star metrics different? So KPIs are a good metric, but those are kind of the instantaneous or spontaneous metrics that a product has. Rather, a North Star metric is used for a longer duration of time. That is for maybe 10 years, 5 years duration of time. And KPI might be useful for the day duration or the week or the month or that year itself, or one business cycle, right? So yep, that's the difference. KPI are for short term, and not North Star metrics are for a very longer duration of time. Ishita asked, I told you product school is there. You can check them. A lot of product pitches over there, which has a wider stream: UI UX developer, business analyst. So that after a few years, it would be a plus point for them. So UI UX is uh, like in comparison to business analyst, uh, UI UX is kind of lesser important uh, if you want to become a product manager, because for being a product manager, you need to have a good strength in the business perspective. But for UI UX, there is gonna be a developer already who has specific skill over UI UX. So you just need to have a good sense of UI UX. So that is why business analyst. Attendance link. Can you guys share the attendance link, please, in the chat section? Can you share your project? I cannot share it actually. I cannot even show it. But it's part of NDA. So with one of my friend. But I'll find some projects to show it to you guys. Website, please. Project guidance. Okay, I'll share some projects, some good projects. More on 21 BBA 10010. Is it clear now? The KPI versus North Star thing. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear.
All right, lovely. So, okay, I'll show you the assignment that I made recently. Uh, Okay, any more questions, please put it in the chat box regarding the projects, and I'll share the projects. Okay. Okay, so I'll show you this project that I used in a conclave. So it was a startup conclave. So this is not three of our friends made it. So here we were solving the problem that we do not have a good clothing clothing material, in the sense that for the higher industry, for the elite industry, we do have furs and everything, but since this society is moving towards a more cleaner and more animal friendly uh, place, so we do not really have a good elite product in the textile industry. So there we found lotus silk, and then it's all the use case and the theory about it. What's the impact of it, right? So this is all the theories, the uniqueness, then the impact, what problem are we solving, and what impact it would have. So that's then this is on the business perspective. How much scalable it is, right? So all this that it's good in the low cost states and everything. So scalable from the business sense as well. Then the market size. So here we talked about how many brands were going, for free. So H&M, Patago, Evelyn, good, good companies that were going. And then at the end, I talked about the revenue model, that what was the labor cost, what was the cost of raw material, then miscellaneous cost, and the total profit, right? So this was it. And then that's it. That was a thank you thing. So this was one such product that kind of, it's not a PRD, guys. It's not a PRD, because in PRD we define it in more specific details. This was more like for a hackathon, kind of for the ideation hackathon. So that I used. Right. Then can you please send the list? Product school, guys. Search product school, and I'll share more resources. Yeah, it's more of a case study, Ravisha. So it's case study, but we only ideated that project as well. So can you send? Okay. So I'll share the links and everything in the Telegram group. Pankaj, it's not a PRD, right? Okay, all right, guys. That's it from my side for today. And you can send me your email ID, Ravisha, right now. Just tell me your email ID else. Here itself. You can send it to me or anywhere in the Telegram group, anywhere. Okay.